I'll promise you guys some videos on tool making. First of all, I want to appreciate all the subscribers that subscribe to my channel, all the views. I appreciate that a lot, guys. But I'm going to be making adapter for 3/4 inch PVC pipe. I use it mainly for 3/8 inch diameter tools. I've already drilled the holes out, because whenever I drill them, when you drill aluminum, try to get you a bright finish bit that helps the chips and ribbons flow out better. And I drill at about 500-600 RPM. Keep it sprayed with WD-40 as you're drilling. It'll drill a lot smoother. I usually start with a center drill. Just pick out one that's about the right size. That's the one I use for 3/8 inch holes. But I just use a center drill, get everything started nice and straight. I use 6061 T6 Extruded aluminum round rod I get from onlinemetals.com. Let's see, I use 3/4 inch aluminum for my 1/2 inch tools. Actually, this is bigger. I used the bigger diameter, but I realized if I go smaller, it'll still fit in there and I won't have to cut as much on the lathe. But I use 3/4 inch for the 1/2 inch PVC pipe. I use 7/8 for the 3/4 inch pipe. And you don't have to take a whole lot off of this one to get it to fit in there, which you can see. The 3/4 inch, I checked the price this morning, it's $247 a foot. The 7/8 inch is $336 a foot. You can get, like I said, I cut them at 2.5 inches. I mark it for a 1/2 inch for the head sticking out. But you can get 4 adapters with a little left over out of a foot. And I think they sell it from 1 foot up to 8 foot. And of course, the more you buy, the more you're going to save, and the cheaper these are. I mean, you figure if you get a foot of 7/8 inch and you get 4 out of them, it's $336 a foot. I mean, that's less than $1 an adapter versus what you pay for a commercial one. The nominal inside diameter for a 1/2 inch is 622 thousandths. For 3/4 inch, now this is PVC pipe that I'm talking about. 1/2 inch is 622 thousandths ID. 3/4 824 thousandths ID. I use digital calipers to measure as I'm going, and I'll stop about 10 thousandths over what I think it needs to be. I'll move the tailstock out of the way and test fit this on there. You don't want a tight fit to where you got to jam it on there, but again, you don't want a loose fit to where it's sloppy and rattles around. Use a 4-jaw chuck, tighten it up real good. When you're drilling the hole out, go ahead and put it back as far as it'll go, and then start drilling your hole until it punches through. Then you can take it out, turn it around. You got to turn the back side before you do anything to the head. But this is an old pointed scraper that I use. I use it strictly for aluminum. I'm not a metalsmith, I'm not a machinist, but you need to get your tool rest adjusted to where your cutting point is going to be in the center line. Make sure everything's locked down good, because you're going to be putting some pressure on it. And you want your tool to be parallel to the floor. I already started a little bit on here to test the video. When I turn this is a Jet 1014 VSI lathe. I put it on the lowest speed range belt setting, but whenever I turn it to turn the aluminum off, or to turn it down, I put it on 1200 RPM. So let me go ahead and get started and see how big of a mess we can make here. Go plunge in. You got to put some pressure on it to get it to go. Go slow. It may chatter and make a lot of noise on you. Don't worry about it. Now when you get close to the end where your 60-degree live center is, ease up on the pressure You don't want to come off the end and slam into your 6-degree center. Then you can come in just with a straight edge. And take that off. There's where your noise comes in. Put it in. You can see the ribbons that are coming off. I don't do a lot to sharpen this scraper. I put a good grind on it. Whenever I need it, I just take a stone across the top of it. Like I said, the 7/8 aluminum rod, hold on. The 7/8 inch aluminum rod that I use for my 3/4 inch tools, you don't have to take a lot off. The 7/8 is 825 thousandths. The nominal ID for 3/4 inch pipe is 824 thousandths. I saw some of these online and I wanted to get some, but they didn't have them in the sizes that I wanted. And I was thinking I'd have to get a metal lathe to make my own. Then I realized that, dumbass, you can do a lot of what you want to do on a wood lathe. You got to be careful how you do it. And I'll try to straighten it out. Turn it off. Don't measure it with it running, guys. If your calipers grab, you're going to get calipers thrown in your face. I'm at 820, 822, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and loosen this up, get it out of the way. Okay, it's just barely wanting to go on there, so I'm going to have to start shaving it off a little bit at a time. Make sure you get your tail center tightened up good. But whenever I get this close, I take a little bit off at a time because I want to creep up on the fit. It's real easy to overcut. Then you've got a sloppy fitting adapter. And I'll use the flat side and run it straight up and down a few times. Smooth off any ridges. If you get chatter, don't worry about it. You want something that's functional, it doesn't have to be pretty. Check it again. Okay, it's starting to slide on there. What I'll do is I'll take a marker, a Sharpie, and I'll mark the point where it stops. That way I know where I've got to start taking off a little bit more at. Come back, get everything locked back down. So then you got your reference mark right there, you can see that. Go ahead and come up here to the front, shave a little bit off, get to your reference mark. You can try to eyeball it, make sure you're getting pretty good all the way down. Then whenever I'm getting close to the end, I'll take this and I'll basically go into it that way it gives you a good crisp shoulder. Like I said, just keep trying it till you creep up on the fit, which end I got. Okay, it's just a little bit more on up towards the front. I cut my aluminum rod with a Sawzall. I've got a new Sawzall quarter cable. I had a metal cutting blade for my little bitty 9-inch bandsaw, and it won't cut through this without the blade breaking. You can use a hacksaw. If you got good arm muscles, you can use a hacksaw. It'll take a while. Even though it was sliding on down here part of the way up, I still go all the way down with my cuts. And on this back end, it's going to be the insert into the pipe. You don't have to get it completely square. Just make sure you got a square edge where you drilled the hole, so your live center can have a square edge to press against. Try to fit again. That's why I've decided to go with smaller aluminum rod, because before I was cutting forever. Okay, there we go, we're done. It's not a sloppy fit. It's tight, it's just enough of a fit to go inside the pipe. Now, one thing I do back here on this end before I flip it around to do the front is I'll take the point and I'll come in, shove it in, wiggle it. Doesn't matter where you do it or how many you do, but I do those are gluing rings, so when you epoxy it into the PVC pipe, it'll give it a little bit more bite. Let's see, take this out and flip it around. You don't want to put it in there all the way. You still want to have a little bit of working room back there. This should be true. Yeah, it's running pretty true. Done with the tailstock. Get it out of the way. Leave the tool rest set so it's still on the center line. Get it to where you can lock it down good. Then you come up and start working on the front. Take any burrs off from the drill. You don't have to cut any of this outside off because it's going to be recessed from the edge of the pipe. What I'll do is I'll come in here, this is where you'll get a lot of chatter. Sometimes I'll switch over to an old round nose scraper to do this. Seems like it doesn't chatter as bad. Of course, it's going to make a liar out of me today. But I'm just putting the bevel on the front, make it look a little better. There we go. And again here, don't put a lot of pressure on it, because if you come off the back and slip in it, you're going to go right into the jaws of your chuck. You're going to throw the tool out of your hand, if not in your head. Basically, just give it the profile you want. I just do a straight bevel. Like I said, you don't have to have a metal lathe or a milling machine. You don't have to be a machinist, as long as you're careful and pay attention to what you're doing. You've seen how many tools I've got up here. You can make a multitude of these for a fraction of what you'd pay for commercial tools. I just keep coming back, kind of get the profile I want. Like I said, it's up to you. You can leave it square, you can put a bevel on it, doesn't really matter. You just don't want that front part so thin that it'll, when you're using your tool, it'll bend or ding out the aluminum. I'll leave about an 1/8 inch all the way around. Of course, with this especially, I mean, you always wear safety glasses, but if you're messing with aluminum, wear them, because these slivers are sharp. I think I'm going to go ahead and stop there. Get this out of the way. I've got a 3/8 inch unhandled Sorby spindle gouge. Slips in there just fine. Take that out. Slides in your PVC. I cut my PVC with a tubing cutter. Let me grab that real quick. I cut my PVC pipe with a tubing cutter because it gives a good, clean, sharp edge. You need to go in and cut that chamfer off, or chamfer it, cut that burred edge off. Before you glue it in here, take a little rasp. I've got a 1/2 round mini rasp. Just come in here, go up and down, all around. I've already roughed this one up. Mix you up a little bit of 5-minute epoxy. You don't need a whole lot. I'd say your A and B side's probably about the spot about the size of a nickel. Mix it up good. Smear a little bit inside here. You don't want a whole lot in there. Then take the rest of it. Make sure you smear it on here real good. Get it in your gluing rings. Then you just, as you're putting it in, just slowly twist it in. You're going to have some squish out the front. Just get a paper towel, wipe it off. When you get it in there, make sure you look in the back. That's why you don't want too much epoxy. You look in the back, make sure your hole that you drilled out doesn't have epoxy dribbling down it. If it does, no big deal. Put your drill bit in a chuck, take it through there, and ream it out by hand until you get the epoxy out. After it's glued in here, I use 5-minute epoxy because I don't like waiting. I want everything yesterday or the day before. But after it's glued in and cured, I will make a center line. The easiest way to make a center line is go up on a door jamb where the door closes, get you a marker or a pencil, just hold it up in there flat like that. I'm sorry, I don't know if you can see all that or not. Hold it up in there flat like that. Strike you a line down. Drill it out. Preferably on a drill press. You can use a V-block to set this in. I've got a compound slide, or compound, let me back up, a cross slide vise mounted to the table of my drill press. I've got a 1/2 inch handle over there that I glued up this morning, but I'll swing this around and show you how I do it. I start drilling the holes on this for the taps with a center drill as well. So if you try to drill straight down on something round with a drill bit, if you've done enough drilling, you'll know that drill bit's going to want to walk on you real bad. So that's basically what you got. You know, a little more, a little less than $1 of aluminum in your PVC. I mean, you get a 10-foot stick for a couple of bucks. You've got a tool handle that's interchangeable. Put whatever kind of tool you want in. If you got several tools, you can swap them in and out. But you got a tool handle there for less than $2. So let me get this shut off, and I'll go over there to the drill press and show you how I do the drilling.